Welcome to this week's Shannon's Lifestyle. Today with us is appointed District Director for SBA Nevada, Mr. Joseph Amato. Joseph has been a former executive and business leader with over 30 years of experience in business development and commercial lending. Not only does he have distinct knowledge on all SBA lending and other SBA support programs, he is also a successful entrepreneur who started a boutique business consulting firm specializing in access to capital, which later was acquired by a major financial institution. Thank you for being here, Mr. Amato.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me.
So can you tell us a little bit more about, during this crisis, what kind of programs is SBA offering?
Well, the Small Business Administration really has to focus on helping businesses through what is now an economic disaster. Our focus primarily is on trying to bring funds to the businesses as quickly as possible to assist them. We have several programs that we've instituted. About 2 weeks ago, we started the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. That is allowing us to put money out into the small business community, to small business owners, and actually all the way down to independent contractors. And that can allow them to borrow up to $2 million per business, and that money can be used to pay for rents, to pay for leases, loans they may have outstanding, basically to help cover payroll for short-term periods, and operating expenses like insurances and things that are normal part of their operation that they can't abate or defer, and they need to keep, whether they're an ongoing operation or in like Las Vegas where they're in a situation where they're completely shut down.
Okay, and that's one of the programs.
Yes, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, or what we call EIDL, is the primary program. We've just added what we call EIDL Plus, which in like the last week and a half, we've been able to basically streamline the program, make it easier to apply for. What was taking an applicant somewhere between 4 to 6 hours to apply now takes them between 10 and 15 minutes. And the EIDL Plus allows them to take in advance up to $10,000 per business as sort of emergency cash that they can get within 72 hours. And that money can be used to sort of stabilize their situation, their business situation, until the larger loans come through, which we hope is within a 2-week period.
So is there a certain criteria?
Well, you have to be a for-profit business, but in disaster situations, and especially in an economic disaster situation, which we've never had to face before. Normally disasters in the SBA are synonymous. The SBA is the primary agency in the federal government that handles disasters, but they're normally floods or tornadoes or hurricanes. This is an economic disaster, so it really affects everyone that's in business, and it affects the people that use the businesses, the products and services. So what we try to do is sort of situate ourselves to support the business owner as best we can, whether they're open or closed, because they are employing people. When they're employing people, whether it's one person, or I met with somebody yesterday who had 318 employees. I had last week met with somebody who laid off 450 employees. So you have to look at the dynamics of it across the board. Economic disasters create situations and voids where if money isn't pumped into the economy to help these businesses, they can not only go out of business, but they affect a whole supply chain of people.
So I would imagine that you probably have been getting a lot of applications.
Oh, it's been crazy. Hundreds of thousands of applications already across the country. And it's really coming from the small mom and pops to major businesses under 500 employees. They could be $50, $60 million companies.
So is that like you have to be a small business in order to qualify for this?
You have to be under 500 employees. That's the major.
Is
you
there
have
a
to be
certain restriction on income, like on revenue?
That's all been
flow?
waived. Normally there is, but it's just basically any business who's for profit and under 500 employees. We also have stipulated it during this time that a nonprofit entity, a 501c3, can also be eligible. Same situation under 500, participants or employees. But yes, it's available to both for-profit and nonprofit businesses.
And which type of business have you seen suffering the most?
Oh my! Well, we're talking.
Besides a mom and pop, I know you mentioned.
Yeah,
about
the
that,
mom and pops, but anyone having to do with the resort, the strip right now.
Service
is suffering.
industry.
Service
mainly.
industries. You have somebody like one of your largest resorts on the strip has 1,100 small businesses that support them. The minute they shut down shut down their operations, they affected the whole supply chain. So you were in a situation where 1,100 businesses now had no means of income because the biggest resort on the strip shut down. And then the
Not to
rest.
mention about the salon and the nail shops and all the other small.
The problem, it's not a problem, but the situation was compounded. In good judgment, the governor basically shut everything down for 30 days. That only exacerbated the problem in a sense for businesses because there were businesses that were strip related that were definitely affected. But then once the governor did the shutdown for 30 days, as an abundance of caution, he basically created a situation that every other business that was considered non-essential would have to close too. So, you talk to, a beautiful woman like yourself, you can't get your hair done, you can't get your nails done, you can't get, it's hard to get anything taken care of that is considered not essential. So all those businesses close. Some of the restaurants are surviving by doing takeout only. Some of the, but most of the restaurants are closed completely because they're either inside of a resort entity or they just can't, they don't maintain themselves. They're a fine dining restaurant, they don't maintain themselves. I know one fine dining restaurant had to lay off over 150 employees. And, that created a vast, vast problem. One of the main reasons why unemployment went up last week at 3.3 million is because all these people are out of work.
They have to lay a lot of people off.
Exactly.
So from the time that you apply for the loan and then when you get the loan, how long usually does that take?
We try to get everything done within 2 to 3 weeks on the EIDL program. The new program that is
Even with so many applications flying in?
It has not been swift. But over the weekend, they not only streamlined the website to make it, instead of a 4 or 6 or 8 hour process, they make it a 15-minute process or less. So that has helped. But then it creates more volume.
Right.
So they've created a more robust backbone to the SBA program so that they can try to administer, review, and fund a lot more projects a lot quicker.
So do you have an idea how should a company prepare itself, from the time it's getting it, or even like now when they're waiting for their loan, and then, till the end of disaster, how can a small business prepare itself for the worst?
Well, it's almost impossible to prepare yourself for this. Nobody ever expected this. This is the.
It's sudden.
It's the type
sudden.
of thing that science fiction novels are written about. The zombie apocalypse. All of a sudden, everybody's out of business.
Right.
Well, this is something that did so sudden, so quick, and shut down the whole country in such a sort of violent way that businesses didn't have a chance to do that. So what they do now, or what they can do now, I'll talk about the EIDL program first, and then the PPP program, the Payroll Protection Program. With the EIDL program, basically they just have to put themselves in a position where they provide the basic information through the website. And right now, all they really need to know is what their gross income was for last year and what their cost of goods sold for last year. The rest of the information is pro forma, business information, personal information. Now, on the EIDL loan, there's no collateral or guarantees involved. So it's really just putting your information in there, giving your bank account number, and hopefully, within a week, 10 days, you're getting approved and you're getting money put in your bank account to help your business survive, help you survive during that time. With the Payroll Protection Program, it's completely differently administered. It's administered by the lenders. So today I spent a good amount of time with both Washington, D.C. and area lenders, sort of prompting them into being prepared for what's going to happen on April 3rd when the PPP program, or Payroll Protection Program, is launched. That program unto itself is administered by the lenders that are authorized by the SBA to provide up to $10 million in funds based on the average monthly payroll of that business when it is in full employment. So what they're doing is they're taking a look at February through June last year. You have to provide that information to the bank and show what my average payroll was during that time in a monthly period. So say, just for example, it's $100,000 a month. You also have to provide the bank then your census, how many full-time employees you had during that same period of time. So say you had 25 employees and $100,000 a month. You then provide that information, really the only information that's necessary for the lender to evaluate. The SBA has entitled the lender to advance through the lender 2.5 times that $100,000 example. So that's $250,000. If the business basically applies and is approved, they have to basically bring all the employees back equal to what their census was. Now, some businesses already have their employees, then been paying them out of their pocket with no revenue coming in.
Right.
Other employees would bring back other employers would bring back their employees to match that census number, which we said hypothecated is 25 employees. If they keep those 25 employees for that 8 weeks, that $250,000 loan, and I put an asterisk, becomes a grant. So it becomes a gift. And the federal government will cover that 8 weeks of employment. Hopefully that by that time recovery is starting to take place and those businesses can stand on their own and those employees will remain and won't have to be laid off again.
So it seems like most of the businesses that's opening or hurting and being affected by this disaster can actually become eligible for this loan or for this type of help. So what if it's a small business that just opened like a few months ago and, you know, but they just happens to be in this situation, and is there a certain like time limit how long you have to be open?
They would like all the businesses that apply to be open for a year, because especially in the PPP program, because they have to basically have a comparison and payroll history. Perfect. On the EIDL program, I think they're creating a little bit more leniency. I mean, if you have a robust company that, you know, started in June and by February you were going gangbusters and all of a sudden this happened, they are giving a little bit of leniency to that. They really are trying to, Javita Carranza, who is the administrator for the SBA, she's the cabinet secretary, she basically has said in no uncertain terms she would love to have 100% approval. Everybody who applies gets approved. There will obviously be situations where that doesn't happen, where that can't occur. But, you know, the heart of the SBA is to get all the money that Congress has appropriated to get out to small business. The heart of the SBA is we want to do that. We want to do that as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Because without this money, without revenue coming in for most businesses, some revenue coming for others, this is the lifeblood of keeping not only the businesses alive for recovery, but it's also employing so many people that otherwise would have to collect unemployment.
Right. So we keep the economy rolling.
Yes. In an artificial way right now, the government is propping up the economy. Right. And my hope is that, you know, within a month, maybe 2 months, recovery is taking hold. You know, as reservations are starting to be taking place in the resorts. As you know, I met with somebody yesterday, he's a very tourist-oriented company. They, you know, they can't do what they do if nobody's in town to be a tourist. So they're gearing up too, and they're preparing themselves. They're going to take advantage of the payroll protection program to the tune of like $2.5 million a monthly payroll. They're bringing back 318 employees who are all going to be efficiently working for the company until the recovery takes place. I mean, it's a miracle of sorts that some companies are able to do that, because the bottom line is trying to get people back to work and propping up those businesses and doing so.
And for a small business owner, where can they go look for more information? And if they have any questions, you know, during the process, is there anybody that they can reach out to, that somebody can walk them through the process?
Well, I've been taking probably close to 250 calls or emails a day. So no, but I have a staff, and my staff is the SBA district office, and you can reach them at 702-388-6611. They're on staff basically 50, 60 hours a week right now, and they're taking phone calls. You can also go on the sba.gov/disaster website. There's also an 800 number there too, if for whatever reason it's after hours, because they're running 24 hours a day. And then finally, I've given out to everyone my email address. It's joseph.amato, A-M-A-T-O, @sba.gov. That you can email me. I try to get in touch with everyone, either by phone call or email within 24 hours, especially if you have a specific problem that you just really need to get an instantaneous answer to. I'm here to basically serve you.
Thank you so much again, Mr. Amato, for being here.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
That was a lot of good information, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of audience will find it very useful.
Well, I hope so. Thank you.
And thanks again for watching this week's Shannon's Lifestyle, and I'll see you next time. Oh, don't forget to write to me about your thoughts for the show, or if there's a place you'd like to see in the town, or if you think your business is a real highlight of Vegas life and want it to be featured. We always do a lucky drawing among the viewers at the end of each episode and send out different surprises each week. No strings attached. So maybe you're the next lucky winner. Thanks for watching Shannon's Lifestyle. Don't go away. We'll be right back.